genuine chance for the fringe players and the youth to stake their claim as part of the qualifying process, which will continue in 2013, this representing the last match for both these sides. We go into the anthems. Generous respect there from the Italian supporters towards their French cousins as the jaunting and stirring anthem was played. Now we move on to Fratelli d'Italia. Italy calls. Well, I don't think that will be necessary this evening. Nonetheless, the stirring strains of Fratelli d'Italia, two of the most recognisable national anthems in Europe, of course. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, as we're talking about two of European football's most successful sides. You may have noticed the young mascots holding a couple of banners in front of them as the camera panned along the teams. A message for the supporters regarding the violence against women, which has become a bit of a problem in Italy and which, quite rightly, is now having attention drawn to it in the hope that it will start the process of resolving the issue. It was a very heartfelt message read to the crowd before the players came out on the pitch. The musicians make their way from the playing area as we have a quick look at the referees. The referee, I should say, and his assistant referees. Undiano Mayenko is the man in charge, the refereeing contingent from Spain, as the two captains have a friendly handshake. It's Giorgio Chiellini for Italy this evening as they go through a number of changes, as do the French from the side that drew 1-1 away to Spain in their last qualification match for the World Cup. As I mentioned at the top of the encounter, both coaches taking the opportunity to blood some of the fringe players, give them an opportunity in this last match of 2012 for these two proud nations. Very much a youthful looking Italian attack. Mario Balotelli just 22 years of age, 15 caps and 5 goals, but he's partnered up front by Stefan El-Shaarawy of AC Milan, one of the few bright spots for Milan in what has been a very inconsistent start to the campaign. El-Shaarawy, 20 years of age, lively and elusive, and hoping to make the most of his opportunity this evening. Just his 3rd cap, his previous couple both coming as substitutes. And in the Italian midfield tonight, the pint-sized figure of Marco Verratti, making just his 2nd appearance. He's been handed the role that would normally be played by Andrea Pirlo. Those boots aren't too big to fill, are they? Pirlo dropping to the bench, and Marco Verratti, who makes his living in France for Paris Saint-Germain. There's the man, there he is, trusted with the role. He's a teeny tiny little thing, Verratti, but he's some footballer. Very, very exciting talent. Barzagli with the ball forward. As soon as there's an opportunity, I'll run you through the two sides. There was a foul on Balotelli before the Italian handballed it. Montolivo just steps away from the free kick, leaves it to Verratti. Montolivo. Maggio, early ball into the box, swinging away from the 6-yard area. Balzaretti is onto it, but the free kick has been awarded to France. Both sides ostensibly lining up with 4-3-3, although they'll tend to be 4-5-1 when they're defending. The Italians, you can see, certainly going into what looks like a 4-1-4-1 formation when they're defending the ball. Balotelli tries to get there first, can't quite get there ahead of Koscielny. Header forward in search of Giroud. Balotelli, good strength from the Italian centre forward. Montolivo, Balotelli still down. Montolivo goes to ground as well. Rivalry, the guilty party. And Balotelli gingerly gets back up to his feet. Koscielny catching him a little late. It was it seemed to be too vicious. Possibly just the way that Balotelli landed as much as anything else. He's still holding his left ankle, Balotelli. A little bit concerning for Prandelli, Italian coach. Towards Candreva. Into it though, Evra. Here's Barzagli, looking long. Balotelli off the chest. Couldn't reach it. Candreva with it. Sacco takes the safe option and goes back to Lloris, who's not had the start to the season that he would have liked, the French captain and goalkeeper. Summer transfer to Tottenham Hotspur in England, but he's been unable to shift Brad Friedel from the first choice slot. Nice footwork on the far side by Sissoko. Matuidi, the number 12. 5 French players, Matuidi, with less than 10 caps to his name. And again. More experienced Evra out wide of him. Evra's pass was a little bit casual. Matuidi does well to come across there, the PSG man. Cut out the double threat of Maggio and Candreva. Candreva, who scored a long-range free kick at the weekend against Roma in the derby. Helped by a glaring goalkeeping mistake, it must be said, but he's been in great form for Lazio, Candreva. Here's Balotelli, clever little ball inside. Montolivo, the shocking orange boots. Here's Chiellini, captain for tonight, no Buffon. Rested in favour of Salvatore Sirigu, who, like Verratti, plays his football in France for Paris Saint-Germain. Top of the French league right now. Barzagli with possession. Maggio moving wide, and he's got a bit of space here, and he was well spotted by Candreva. The pass was slightly behind him, but it was the right idea. Montolivo. Good ball in to Balotelli. It's just ahead of the number 9. Defenders dawdling though. Sacco didn't really seem to be sure of what he was doing there. Crossing opportunities there. Candreva. Good header away. Verratti, nice control under pressure. Candreva, another possibility to put the ball into the box, but that's a miss kick from the former Livorno and Juventus man. He's rediscovering himself at Lazio, Candreva. Moved to Juve as a younger man, and high hopes upon him, but never really produced for the Turin side. Lost his way for a couple of seasons, but forced his way back into the Italian national squad. Sirigu. Nice control on the chest from Candreva. Knocked away though by Les Matuidi. Positive enough start though by the Italians. The home side. Proudly top of European qualification group B as we build towards the World Cup in Brazil. 3 wins and an away draw the Italians have under their belt. 4 points clear of nearest challengers Bulgaria, and 8 points clear of Denmark, who were expected to be the major challengers in that group, although in fairness Italy do still have to play home and away against the Czech Republic, who are no pushover, but nonetheless Italy strong favourites to go through top of that group. Here's Chiellini, good ball into Montolivo, nice idea to try and flip it on first time with the outside of his boot. The ball breaks kindly for Balotelli, who possesses a powerful shot, goes for goal, but it was powerful. It wasn't very accurate. Underneath it, skying it away into the crowd behind the goal, and I don't think that one's coming back. Did it bobble? That's usually the complaint. No, it didn't. Just got underneath it as it went for extra power. Lloris with the goal kick. Makes it just over the halfway line. Montolivo beaten in the air by Matuidi. Giroud battling for it. Oh, lovely little drag back from Verratti. El Shaarawy hasn't seen much of the ball so far. The Faraone, the Pharaoh, Egyptian origins, but very much an Italian. Free kick on the far side for the Azzurri. Going back to 1998, these 2 countries have been involved in some pretty heavyweight encounters. Certainly all the way down through footballing history, these two have been old rivals, but go back to 1998 in the World Cup in France. There's an offside flag there against Olivier Giroud, who's had an up and down time of it at Arsenal since arriving in the summer. Quite scored as many goals in the league as people were hoping, but he's been quite useful in terms of assists and putting himself about. He's often started from the bench as well, so plenty of time left for him to win the fans over. Here's Candreva, Italy building nicely. Maggio's making the overlapping run. There he is, found. It wasn't the best of balls from Candreva. Maggio did well to dig the cross out, but couldn't get the right angle on it. Goes long with the clearance. Giroud underneath it. It's probably a foul by Barzagli, trying to reach around him with arm and leg. The French have possession, nothing doing, says the referee. Sissoko helps it on. The cross into the box. Sirigu's first action. First significant action, and it's very comfortable work. It's a nice idea from Balotelli, but Candreva's not quite fast enough to get past Evra in that sort of situation. With the foul. Debuchy coming into the back of the Lille man there. Verratti tames the ball nicely, looks over the top for El Shaarawy, beats off one defender, gets a little bit lucky with the bounce. Balotelli off the bar. Much better effort from Mario Balotelli. And Italy the closest so far to breaking the deadlock, but the French now with the possibility of breaking. Here's Ribéry, moves away from a couple of challenges, but he's been forced backwards, which is what the Italians were aiming for. Very, very good effort from Mario Balotelli. Divides opinion like no other Italian player of recent times. I was speaking to some of the fans outside the stadium before the match, and it's quite possible to actually call it a generational thing. The older fans tend to think he's more trouble than he's worth, and the younger fans worship him. That was a lovely effort, wasn't it? Knew exactly where he was going to try and put that, placed it away, and it's actually the angle of the crossbar and post. And then he brought down by Cristian Maggio. Maggio, who normally plays as the wide right player in a 3-5-2 formation for Napoli, but he's part of an orthodox back four here. It's not his favoured position. He's not the best defensively. He's better coming forward. So it'll be interesting to see if Ribéry can put some pressure on him down that side. In comes the free kick. It's a nice one as well, curling in, but it was dealt with by the Italians. Here's Verratti, who wouldn't quite sit down for him. It's a nice idea. Couldn't loft it over the defender's head into the run of El Shaarawy. Here's Ribéry dropping a little deeper for it, as he may need to do as the match wears on, and the Italians do a little bit more of the pushing as the home side. Here's Ribéry making the run, drifting into the penalty area. Two players try to go with him. He works it back onto the right foot, needs some support, and it wasn't there. And he's been bundled out of it. And the Italians can break. Here's Candreva. His shirt tugged just a little bit by Cabaye. He's a big, strong man. Wasn't much of a tug there, but Candreva didn't need much encouragement to go to ground. Here's Giroud. Needs a little bit of support. Tries to hold off defenders and wait for that support. Touch from Verratti. Didn't quite make it through to El Shaarawy. Very confident start, though. If you're just joining us, welcome along. We're at the Ennio Tardini Stadium in Parma, and it's Italy 0, France 0. But it's been a bright start by the Italians. Mario Balotelli curling a lovely effort from just outside the penalty area against the join of crossbar and post. Here's Cabaye. Matuidi. Evra. Good defending from the Italians, good discipline. Forced the French back a little bit there. Koscielny. Balotelli's tracking him. Koscielny looks down the line. It was a nice ball. Valbuena with a little flip inside, but again the Italian defending has forced the French backwards. Matuidi. Cabaye. Evra moves inside the challenge of Maggio a little bit too easily, but Maggio, in fairness to him, works back and regains possession. Montolivo to Candreva. Just getting a little bit cramped on this near side, and I think Candreva, recognising that, just opens things up a little bit by going back to the goalkeeper. Balotelli. The layoff wasn't the best, although I suspect Maggio might have been a little bit slicker to respond to it. Nice touch by Ribéry. Sees things very, very quickly, Frank Ribéry. side for an Italian throw, and Balzaretti, thinking quickly, has taken it quickly. Balotelli not able to hold off the attentions of Mamadou Sakho, but again, Verratti, interesting little start. He's again in the right place at the right time, just for a little interception and layoff. Italians have made a bit of a mess of things back in defence, though, and France have the throw-in an attacking position. The cross comes in, but there's nobody in a white shirt able to get close enough to cause any danger for that one. Barzagli, a couple of years out of the Italian national team following the World Cup in 2006. Now back in favour, back in Italy. Playing for Juventus, Candreva won't get there. Look at the replay, the closest we've come so far to a goal. Absolutely beaten. Nowhere close to it. Good work coming to his rescue. Technically, it isn't wood anymore these days, is it? Fiberglass, metal. Used to be made of wood. And the saying still stands. Here's Balzaretti. Into Chiellini. Chiellini, one of a number of Juventus players in this Italian squad. Juventus again top of the league, although they did suffer their first defeat for a while. A couple of weeks back they were beaten by Inter, but Inter, surprisingly, the weekend just gone, have slipped up away to Atalanta, enabling Juventus, who crushed Pescara by 6-1 with an awesome first half display. 5 goals in the first half. Absolutely murdered Pescara. Balzaretti with the ball in, didn't really look where he was playing that. Candreva, oh dear, that wasn't the best either. Ribery controls the awkward pass and moves downfield, looking for support. Valbuena, clever quick feet, takes him away from Barzagli. Well, he wasn't supported infield as much as he would have liked there. Giroud had gone forward, but none of the other midfielders had come up to support. Here's Valbuena again. Tricky customer, the number 8. Sissoko, to force his way past 2 players. He did, but he didn't really have the ball under control for any of that little period of play. Here's Verratti. Nice idea. Well, Balotelli can get there, which he can. Dispossessed at the expense of a throw-in. Defender's legs didn't quite come off. Verratti with the header, couldn't find his teammate. Hacked away from danger by Matuidi. I think it was aimed at Giroud, but it wasn't a very good pass, and the Italians have possession again. Certainly have made the more confident start of the two sides. Nothing to show for it in terms of goals, however. Here's El Shaarawy. Marchisio. Candreva bullied out of it by Evra. Sissoko. And again the number 11. Physical player, but not the most elegant in possession. Here's Matuidi. Ribery coming wide to offer an option for Evra. Maggio gets in front of him though. Ribery wanted a free kick, referee says no, that's perfectly okay, carry on. Montolivo doesn't manage to get past the dual attentions of Capoue and Matuidi. Felt he took a little bit of a kick there, Montolivo, but play has continued. Here's the Bayern Munich man, Frank Ribery. Doesn't matter if there are 2 or 3 men in front of him, he's capable of getting through them. That's a gorgeous little ball into the penalty area. And the first serious moment for Salvatore Sirigu, as the French threatened there. Clever little ball inside the Italian area, and it was just looking for a split second as though the defence had misread it. Sirigu was going to be caught. life a little bit more difficult for themselves than they need to in defence. That was better work from Verratti. Here's Candreva looking for the give and go with Maggio. Trying to speed things up with a little pass inside to Montolivo. Both coaches close to the touchline, barking instructions to their players. Didier Deschamps, the man in charge of France now, following the European Championships, took over from Laurent Blanc. A coaching spell in Italy with Juventus. Deschamps played, of course, for Juventus very successfully too. Famously derided by Eric Cantona as a water carrier in his playing days, but Deschamps had the last laugh. World Cup and a European Championship win, which Cantona couldn't boast. Lovely effort from Valbuena, sorry, number 8. Put it onto his right foot and got the curler away, but in the end it was straight into the arms of the goalkeeper. Balotelli bullied out of it, but unfairly so, says the referee. Deschamps as a water carrier. It's perfectly clear, of course, that he and Cantona, the Leeds and Manchester United legend, did not see eye to eye personally. Different style of player entirely, but a great team needs both of them. Deschamps imposed himself on the international game, and Cantona, despite his unquestioned talent, never really did. Here's Balzaretti. Marchisio with a little layoff for Verratti. The ball to the near side, but it was a little bit floaty for Maggio, who was forced backwards and had to make a header rather than wanting the ball into his run. Valbuena, nice smart turn. Again, though, the French are short of numbers coming forward. Matuidi, Capoue. Lazy from Evra. Gives it to Balotelli. Needs some support. That was a foul by Evra. Balotelli checked back inside and was brought down by the Manchester United man. A little bit of a mini Manchester derby there, of course. Balotelli, Manchester City striker, already managed to have one or two public bust-ups with his manager so far this season. Rumours are that if the right price is offered, Manchester City could be prepared to offload him in the transfer window. Very interesting to see if that happens and who'd be prepared to take him on. There were rumours last season that he would go to AC Milan. It never happened. Will it happen this time? They certainly need somebody, AC Milan. A desperate time of it at the moment, although in fairness, their problems are in defence and midfield rather than attack, where the young man in your picture is performing wonders for them. Halfway through the first half, 0-0. If you're just joining us, welcome along. Bright start from Italy. It's faded a little bit since then. It's been a bit more even the last 10 or 15 minutes, but Mario Balotelli did curl a nice effort against the crossbar. Here's Verratti, who's probably been the best player so far. Again, the ball looking for El Shaarawy if he can get there, and he can. One defender for company, two now for company. Balotelli tries to drift towards him to offer support, and the French have snuffed out the threat. With good defending there, he knew exactly what Giroud was going to try and do with that. Anticipated very, very well. Nice touch from Ribéry. Marvellous play in the Bayern Munich man. Hasn't always been the most consistent, particularly at international level, but there's no questioning the talent.
Sacco. Clipped over the top. It's the first time for a while the French have tried a longer pass. That's a foul. Verratti brought down. Montolivo drifts away from the Effort of Matuidi to impinge his progress. Balzaretti. El Shaarawy moving infield from his wide area. That was weaker from Marchisio, who hasn't quite got into the game as he usually does, Claudio Marchisio. Valbuena, nice ball out wide. French offering an overlapping run on that far side. Valbuena again, he's got an option with Debuchy. And again, Valbuena, that's a nice ball into Giroud. Couldn't quite get the ball out from under his feet. Oh, he's got a little bit of a lucky break there, and he almost danced his way through the defence. A little bit of luck and a little bit of skill there. Ribéry not falling Maggio. Balotelli using his strength well, and there's a nice opportunity here for Italy. Candreva to Balotelli. Took the ball first time well. Balotelli, can he get the cross in? He can. Montolivo's there with the back heel, and it's hacked away by Sacco. Verratti. Italy still in possession, still with options. Verratti hassled by Ribéry, and he managed to get it away to Balzaretti. The attack has lost a little bit of momentum, but Italy still have the ball. Nice use of the ball again by Verratti. Have been impressed by him. Candreva drives it in. Not quite sure what the intention was there, but Italy have the throw-in. It's Balotelli doing very well. The cross, in fairness, did take a deflection. Montolivo, nice idea to try the back heel. He recognised he was going nowhere with it. Maggio. Candreva. He's dribbled himself into trouble there, Candreva, and lost possession out of play. Kicked forward by Sacco. Giroud beats Barzagli in the air. Gets another opportunity. Chiellini comes in very strongly. Verratti collects the loose ball. Montolivo clipping it forward for the run of Balotelli, but that was good defending from Koscielny. Knew that he had to be correct there with the timing of his jump, because Balotelli was away and behind him. That was a nice ball. Valbuena looking for the 1-2 with Ribéry. Maggio did well. Ribéry was gambling, you could see there that Maggio wouldn't quite time the lunge in correctly, and he'd be away and behind him and into lots of space, but the Napoli man did well. Giroud. Koscielny. And again, the Arsenal man. For his options further forward. He's got the pass down the line. It wasn't the best ball to Debuchy. He was asking for it right into his feet, and instead he got it in front of him, but he has won the throw. Capoue. Valbuena, who's starting to grow in confidence as this match progresses for the French, and that's a good sign for them. Pass out wide. Chiellini's there and has to be quick. That 2 from Balzaretti was just threatening for a second to go behind the Juventus defender. Ribéry swapped sides temporarily, but bullied out of it. Nice turn. Montolivo bought the dummy. Italian blue shirts have closed ranks. Giroud has committed the foul, and that was a little bit of a daft one to give away, because the Italian was going nowhere. Candreva. And Giroud just needed to keep some pressure on him and force him into a mistake. Instead, he's clipped the back of the ankles. I was talking a little bit earlier about the recent clashes between these two nations. 1998 World Cup in France. Quarter-final. France winning on the penalty shootout after a 0-0 draw. Balzaretti. Italy will have a corner. 2 years later, it was the final of the European Championships. Italy 1-0 up and missed other chances to clinch the game, and France came back. Late equaliser. A golden goal from David Trezeguet. Here comes Balzaretti. Shooting opportunity is there! And the shooting opportunity was taken, but not particularly well from Candreva, who does strike a very, very good ball from distance. Scuffed that one rather, though. Sides met again in the final of the 2006 World Cup. Italy there getting their revenge on the penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw. Candreva flipping it forward, but just out of play. He's a bit up and down. He's probably very nervous, in fairness, Candreva. He knows that he's not a first-choice player. The likes of Daniele De Rossi and Andrea Pirlo are ahead of him in pecking order for a place in the Italian midfield, and he desperately wants to impress. In those sorts of situations, of course, players can sometimes just force things and try a little too hard. Seems a silly thing to say, how can you try too hard? But just put a little bit of extra pressure on yourself. Evra with the cross in. Maggio. Yeah, does well. Recognised that the last touch was Sissoko's, and defended the ball as it left the field of play. Ball into Giroud, bundled away from possession though by a couple of Italians, and there's Maggio. Looking for a positive run, Maggio. That wasn't the best pass from Montolivo. The Mexican wave is going round the Ennio Tardini Stadium. Usually tells us something about the quality of the entertainment. I have to say, it's justified in this particular case. It was a bright start, particularly by Italy, but it's faded a little bit. Can we have some action now? The drive is powerful, but it's always rising. Sissoko winning his 6th cap tonight, the 23-year-old. Not able to break the deadlock. Much coveted player, Sissoko. Transfer rumours all the time about him. Manchester United, one of the clubs apparently interested. Sissoko. With everyone behind the ball. Only 4-5-1. It's a very disciplined performance so far from both sides defensively. Chiellini and Sharawi. Dispossessed, but kept his run going and is now in a slightly different position to offer Montolivo an option. That was a good ball from Montolivo. Balzaretti can get there. He can't. Was beaten to it by the defender, and the defender there, Sissoko, did very well. He actually managed to spot by rights at Juventus. To leave a lovely ball out. Well, he hasn't seen too much of the ball, the Ferrer. He sees it to very good effect there. One chance and one goal for the Italian number 14. And that is his first goal for his country in this, his third game. Such good form for Milan this season, and it's his Milan teammate Montolivo under a bit of pressure who finds him, and El Shaarawy looked to me, yes he did, he stuffed it straight through the legs of Hugo Lloris. Lloris will be a little bit disappointed perhaps there that such a centrally placed shot managed to get past him. Jose Prandelli won't be complaining. Neither will the Italian supporters. And neither, I suspect, will anybody neutral watching the game. Just what the game needed. Very, very competent finish from a very, very promising young striker. Nacho. Ran the ball out of play, but the assistant referee helped him out, and the foul on Balotelli was there? No. Balotelli doesn't agree. I'm not too sure how many times I have seen Balotelli agree with the decision that went against him. Here's Ribéry. French try to hit straight back. Gonzalez does well. Didn't quite dispossess Ribéry, but almost did enough at least to stop the attack. Valbuena, beautiful skill. Valbuena! It's an equaliser straight away. And it's a very, very good goal from Mathieu Valbuena. Third goal for his country. Tricked his way past a couple of challenges. Moved inside the penalty area. And then curled a lovely goal beyond City good. Ribéry, as I mentioned, half dispossessed. Holds off one challenge, past the second. Creates a little bit of an angle. That's a very good goal. Verratti not strong enough. Mazzagli was tricked. Nacho didn't get to him close enough, and there's nothing Sirigu could do. That was a very well placed shot. Bent around and into that top corner. Very fine goal from Valbuena. Well, after I complained about 5 minutes ago that the match was just drifting into a bit of a nothingy affair, we've had 2 goals in a couple of minutes, and both of them good as well. Here's Koscielny. Well, will that give France the impetus to come forward and try and score again? And ball perhaps by Balzaretti. The ball bounced up though, and the referee lets him get away with that. Matuidi. Evra. Looking for the angled ball in behind the defenders, but there was nobody in a white shirt remotely close to that. Balzaretti. Andreeva under a little bit of pressure. Nice to work some space. Long range effort, but flashing wide and no danger to Sirigu that one. Barzagli. It's noticeable how much the Italians have been prepared from goal kicks to just go short and play their way down the field. Lloris has cleared it long far more often. And Sacco. Valbuena jumping into the man rather than for the ball, but Italy have possession, didn't really make a huge deal of difference. Chiellini, El Shaarawy. Juggling, wants the free kick, almost gave possession away, but French have it back. Balotelli again, shrugging his shoulders. I'm not quite sure if he was shrugging his shoulders at the referee or at his teammates. He was in a little bit of space and wasn't given the ball. Nice movement from Verratti, takes him away from the challenge. Montolivo. Halfway between Candreva and Maggio, and neither man quite able to get there. Ribéry. Giroud. Ribéry again. Got the man out wide. Matuidi. Ribéry moves into the penalty area. Crosses a little deeper. Giroud is there. Might bounce down. Sissoko's there. And Balzaretti does well, but the French still have the Italians under pressure. Debuchy with the cross. Almost made its way through to Valbuena. Now the Italians can break. Balotelli. Good challenge from Sacco. Very, very strong, but fair. Balotelli up on his feet as Italy play on. Balotelli again, muscled out of it this time by Cabaye, who keeps going forward and eventually just ran out of ideas and ran straight into Andrea Barzagli, and he comes back down the other end. Now the game is opening up. Both teams clearly want to try and grab a goal before we get to the half-time whistle, which is in a little over 3 minutes, I beg your pardon. Montolivo did well to get there. Candreva, the crowd urge him to shoot. They know he can. Second time tonight, he didn't really get hold of it. And Valbuena is down. French goal scorer. If you're just joining us, welcome along to the Ennio Tardini. It's Italy 1, France 1 as we approach half-time. Italy took the lead after 35 minutes through Stefan El Shaarawy. His first goal for his country. But it was cancelled out just a couple of minutes later when the man who's down injured, you can see him there, Mathieu Valbuena, skipped past a couple of challenges and curled a fine effort into the top corner. Smoke machine being brought on. Theatrical. Stretcher brought on but not required, and 65 million medical officials coming on to make sure that Valbuena's okay, which he appears to be. It was just a little disconcerting at first because he went down quite heavily and didn't move, and you know a player is genuinely hurt when he doesn't move. When they roll around clutching for something, you know they're probably feigning, but he went down. See him just crash out of your picture there, and he didn't move from that position. Just hoped it wasn't serious, and fortunately it doesn't appear to be so. He's back on the field now and actually has his hand up asking for possession on the far side. Cabaye looks long, not very accurate though. Maggio gave the ball away. Here's Giroud. Determined to win possession back, and he's tackled Giroud, but at the expense of a throw-in. Both sides tonight without a number of big hitters. Italy, for example, have omitted Daniele De Rossi from the squad after he was sent off in the Rome derby at the weekend. Nice control from El Shaarawy on the far side. That wasn't an easy ball to bring down at all. He's done very well, drifting towards goal. He's got the man outside. It's Balzaretti needs some support. It was Marchisio before, it was Balzaretti then. Here's Verratti. Marchisio. Another nice little touch of skill from Verratti. Drifting inside the penalty area. He's got the man out wide. Balzaretti's got time to measure the cross and wastes it. But it wasn't good defending from Koscielny. French have to clear their lines here, and they've half done it with Evra. Ball looks like it will come back at them though. Montolivo just about manages to stumble away and make sure it was heading off in the direction of a blue shirt. Ribery with the shoulder bars and El Shaarawy. Perfectly fair, says the referee. The older, more experienced man got the better of the younger one. And here is Ribery again. Stuck to the near side. France is left for most of the first 25 minutes, but he's drifted around a little bit more since then. And I think he's always more dangerous when he's allowed to drift. Just go where he likes. He's quite a responsible player, Ribery. And he moves out of position. And the referee brings the first half to a conclusion here at the Ennio Tardini. It's Italy 1, France 1. El Shaarawy, after 35 minutes, cancelled out by a fine individual goal from Valbuena after 37. It was a decent start to the match. It then petered away into a little bit of a mediocre affair, but the two goals have livened it up again. And hopefully we'll have a very entertaining second half for you to enjoy, which I hope you will come back and join us for in a short while. Goodbye for now.